Hey besties, today we are doing this beach style charcuterie board. That word is hard, okay? But before that, I'm going to welcome you guys to our YouTube channel. Make sure to follow us on all our social media platforms for everything Misfit Makers. And make sure you click that subscribe button so you'll be notified for any new tutorials. And also check out our website and our Patreon. Okay, guys, this is going to be a long one, okay? But first, let me show you this beautiful charcuterie board that I got from CCDIY and this other little cutie that I got from the glitter guy. But today we're going to use this big one, okay? Go big or go home. Like I said, it's going to be a journey. If you notice, this tutorial is long and I apologize, but at the same time, I don't, okay? Because I included all the bloopers. And when I tell you bloopers, there's bloopers, okay? It's gonna be a freaking wild ride. So as you see here, I'm taping off the bottom of my board using painter's tape and some electrical tape for those rounded corners. Taping this up is going to help us to clean it up nicely at the end and hopefully have a nice, clean, straight edges. So I say hopefully because the way this tutorial's going, just wait. Okay, cover up your workspace with some wax paper or parchment paper just to keep it nice and clean. This is a messy tutorial. So everything's going fine right now, okay? Everything goes as planned until, well, I'll just stick around, okay? Don't leave me. So anyway, so we're gonna do the actual beach scene on the handle part. We're gonna be using UV resin, some dispersion color paint in the color cobalt, some white, and we're just gonna do glitter and a bunch of different things to create the different colors in our beach scene. So I'm adding a tiny bit of dispersion paint. This is from CCDIY. This stuff is super pigmented that you don't really need a lot. I also added some pop of color for my light color. I believe it's teal from CCDIY, and also added some micas. I have some micas from Rocky's Creation and some micas from the glitter guy, and just anything that I had to add a little bit of shimmer. This is one of my favorites, bright white micas from the glitter guy. If you don't have it in your collection, go get it right meow. It is amazing for additives. Okay, so I digress. Oh, I'm adding some Daddy from Peachy Olive and some other blue. I can't remember, but I will post it in the supply list. And of course, more micas. Oops, I grabbed the peach. I really meant to grab the gold. But for my gold, I'm adding Athena and some gold micas to it as well. As you see here, I've separated my UV in 3, 4, 5 different little pots. I actually did one more than I actually needed, but I wasn't, like I said, it started going downhill, okay? So just stick with me and I'll show you guys how I saved this charcuterie board. Charcuterie. Dang, that word is hard to say. But anyways, so I finally found the gold, added the gold micas to my gold, and then I'm adding a little bit of this white into this blue because this blue is dark. Like I said, dispersion paints are not like acrylic. They're not like pop of color. They are super high pigmented paints. So a little goes a long way, and I put a lot. So anyway, I forgot to click the record button, but I did a little thin line kind of outlining where I wanted my beach to stop with the clear UV. Then I did a line of gold and then the light blue, and then I'm going to do the rest in the dark blue. This is a trust the process kind of thing. Like, trust me, I was a little worried. I'm like, why do these people on YouTube make it seem so easy? And mine looks like my 5-year-old son made it. But anyway, so add your gold, add your blue, add your next blue. You can even add some white, a little bit of green, depending on what your beach scene looks like. And remember, they're all going to be different. They're not going to be perfect. This is what I was trying to tell myself. Just go with it. Trust the process, Jerry. You're not a professional, but we learning. We're going to learn today. Okay, so here I am just spreading it out as much as I can. Next, I'm going to use a gloved hand, and I'm going to kind of, I think this is where I'm putting my glove on, but I am going to slowly just kind of push the epoxy or UV to the sides. One of the mistakes I made was one, my surface was not level. It was kind of leaned towards one side, so my UV was dripping on one side. Number two, I didn't mix enough, so I had to really work on pushing some of that UV to the sides because you want it to drip down your sides. Unless you tape it on the edges, you want to make sure it's kind of seamless. So that was my second mistake. So here I am just kind of manipulating. I'm adding a little bit more gold, just trying to keep it separated. You can use your little popsicle stick to kind of manipulate what you want it to look like, if you want it to swirl more. After you see what you like, you're going to go ahead and cure that. Now, mind you, you can do all these steps with epoxy instead of UV. I was just pressed a little bit for time, and I also wanted to get it done. Oh, and sorry for the blurry side. I'm using a new camera or new phone, and my phone stand wasn't. It'll go away eventually, okay? It's not you, it's not your TV or your tablet or your phone. It is me. Okay, so this is where things start going wrong. I decided to use Turbo, and I thought I was faster than Turbo. But Turbo said, hold my beer or hold my drink. We're keeping this PG-13. And it would not move. It started setting. It started flash curing on me. I even took out the straw. I almost passed out trying to get these waves to move, but they didn't move. I was trying my heat gun. I was trying Anthony's heat gun. I was trying everything, and it would just not move. It set. It cured. And so then I decided to grab a popsicle stick and kind of pull on my epoxy while it was still kind of gummy. I was like, YOLO. At this point, it's either trash or I'm going to save it. So I grabbed my popsicle stick and started pulling on it, pulling on it. So, tip number one, do not use Turbo. Turbo is amazing, but it is so fast curing, and adding all kinds of different stuff made it flash cure even faster. So, just don't do it. Girl, don't do it. It ain't worth it. So, anyway, here I am just trying to do something with it. I wasn't sure. I was basically in tears. I was on the phone with Anthony telling him, I messed up my charcuterie board and I don't know what I'm doing. And we tried to problem solve, and he said, just add another, look, this is how it cured. So he said, add another layer, see what it does. So that's exactly what I did. So after this cured, which didn't take long, I decided to go in with a coat of UV. This time I didn't make it as pigmented. I made it a little bit more translucent. I wanted it to kind of give it like a layered effect. So I always planned to do this. This was part of my steps, but I was planning to have nice, pretty waves underneath it. But because that didn't work out for me, I I poured about 20 mLs of UV. The UV I'm using is from CCDIY. I added a little bit of alcohol inks this time because I didn't want it to be as pigmented as the dispersion paint. I wanted it to be translucent. So here it is with the alcohol inks and extra layer of UV. I don't know what I'm doing here. Oh, I was looking for some inks. So I also added some inks right on top of that UV. It's not cured yet, so I was just adding just a little bit over the waves, just kind of tone them down a little bit. Honestly, I didn't know what was gonna happen. I was just trying to wing it and trying to save it. So here I am just cleaning up my gold right here so it didn't bleed through, and now I'm gonna cure it. And I know you guys probably think that the worst is over, But it's not, it gets worse. So now I'm gonna add some more waves because I feel like maybe I can make the waves move with UV. So I mixed some UV with some white dispersion paint and a little bit of mica, and I went ahead and added some lines here to create my waves. But it still didn't move. I tried the big heat gun. I tried the little heat gun. I tried canned air. I said, let me try canned air. Canned air was working, but then I realized I put too much pigment in my UV, and then it was creating pretty little cells, but then it would self level. And so then I thought, okay, what if I blow on it and before the cells cure or level, maybe I can cure it? So I blew canned air on it, grabbed my UV light, and did it at the same time. I know, crazy, crazy, crazy. And it worked a little bit. Like you can tell some of those cells were cured and worked well. I think it would have worked if I wouldn't have put too much dispersion paint. But didn't learn my lesson and decided to keep on going. So I did the same thing. I was running out of air, to be honest. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. But at this point, I was like, you know what? We gonna make it work because as you know, Jess and I always say, this body was not built to be a stripper, and we do not strip cups or charcuterie boards. But actually, I didn't have another board. I had the little heart one, and I was like, I'm going to make this work. I was determined. So, anyway, I cured those waves, and obviously, they look like, I don't know, icebergs, whatever, ice clouds, I don't know. So I decided to do another coat of UV. This time, very translucent, mostly glitter, and just a tiny bit of alcohol ink. And I did a darker blue and then a light blue just to cover these waves up so they're not as crazy looking. I know, I know. Oh my goodness. You guys should have, I wish I would have added the actual audio because I was doing some heavy breathing. For those that have watched me on live, you guys know my famous heavy breathing. So after I added the layer of glitters, the light blue and the darker blue, I spread it out over my board, making sure it went evenly throughout all the edges. And I was like, okay, not too bad, starting to look a little better. Then I added, before I cured, I added some more gold to my shoreline there. I wanted to make sure that it was the same height level since I had been adding so much to my beach. The blue, the water part, I wanted to make sure the sand goldy part was the same height. So here I am just putting on some gold, making sure I have my edges as well. And I dripped some gold there. But the amazing thing about this, you could just kind of grab it and wipe it off on a paper towel. Then I decided to add a little bit of more alcohol inks and kind of blend them in there just to kind of disguise those waves clouds. And then I was like, okay, I'm starting to like this. Not too shabby. So that's what I did to save this board. And hopefully you guys liked it. Like I said, not what I was looking for, not what I was envisioning, but she cute. So after this, I cured it. And we just, I added some more. Look, I added some more. I guess in this situation, more is more. So I added some more of this darker blue, and I'm just blending it in there and kind of going for more of a marbly effect, kind of like a very choppy, stormy beach kind of look. So I hope you guys enjoy this. So as I finish adding the final touches here, I just want to encourage you guys that, it's okay to fail. It's okay to to end up with something that maybe you weren't envisioning, because sometimes it turns out okay. Like, I'm not mad about it. You'll see the final result and it looks pretty cute in my opinion. Not, like I said, not what I was envisioning, but don't be discouraged. Don't be afraid to phone a friend and ask them what they think or what you should add. And with alcohol inks, they're so forgiving. You could always add more. You could always layer. It's very forgiving. So don't just throw it in the trash. Like, really try to work it, and feel free to always reach out to us. We would love to help out and give ideas. So like I said, here it is. Look how cute it is. It turned out pretty good. I'm going to give it its last coat using Turbo, and I mixed about 20 mLs, and again I have it over my clean parchment paper or wax paper, and I am just going to do a nice thin coat. Like, you guys, for those that have used Turbo, know that Turbo is very thin viscosity, so it's really self levels really good there, and it drips really nicely over the edges. So it works really great for projects like this, for any project really, but this project really good. So make sure you coat it really good. I also went ahead and after I coated it, I cleaned up my little shoreline using a paper towel with alcohol on it, just to make sure I have a nice clean line, and then let it cure and torch it a couple times, get rid of any bubbles, clean up those edges and let it cure, and then we'll clean it up. This is what it looks like before it's cured. And oh, I missed a spot. I need to clean up right there. But there we go. Make sure you get all that epoxy off. Sorry about that. But look how pretty it looks. I am pretty happy. Next, we'll clean it up. Now that your epoxy is cured, you can work on cleaning the back of your board. I would recommend using a hot knife to peel off those little drips that came off on the bottom. But if you do not have a hot knife, use your heat gun to heat up the epoxy and use a sharp X-Acto blade. So just very carefully and slowly go around the back of your board, removing any of those beads, and then finish it off by cleaning off any sticky part or paint or anything that is left on the back of your board. And then she is done. Look how pretty this is. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I cannot wait to see what you create. And thank you so much to our Patreon members. Thank you for your continued support. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and that way you will be notified of any new videos. And we'll see you next time.